Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Bethel. If you're new here, welcome back. This is Bethel Be Reading. You want to rub yourself on that? This is going to be the second video I'm putting up on this channel. This is my booktube, Before we get into today's video, which is going to be my June hopefuls, that's this big stack of books right here, I did want to kind of give a little bit of a backstory, a little bit of a background as to what made me want to start this booktube channel. For the last 6 months, I have been really passionate about books, reading. My favorite genre is fantasy, and there are so many books I want to read, so many that I have read. My goal this year is to read 100 books at the minimum. I would like to read 300. But that may not be possible. That may not be, because that's a lot. That's a lot of books to read. Especially at the halfway point, I would probably have to be reading like 3 books a day. I don't know how to do math. I don't know how to do math. So if you are completely new to me, I'm Bethel. I actually dabble and have posted on social media as a DJ, K-pop mashups. This is a montage of me looking pretty baddie, I have to say, now that I'm looking at it. Goddamn. That's kind of been a thing that I've done and have been known for, but I found myself over the last 6 months really starting to develop this passion for books and reading. I used to be a huge reader in high school, not as much as I am now. Actually, I think current Bethel surpasses high school Bethel, but reading has really provided this form of escapism that has changed my life. Falling back into this has changed my life. If you are already in this adulting garbage that it is, it's pretty ghetto, it's really hard. It's really hard to be present in reality and whatnot. And so finding these books, having these fantasy reads is really just, I just developed this new love and fun for it. So I feel so passionate about books to the point where I'm like, I need more. Like, I can't just I need longer form. I need a place to have longer form content, I guess, to talk all things books. If you're someone who's already known me prior, you're like, she's really been into books. That is why it's really taking the forefront of my interest. So, you're so sweet. So distracted by Roscoe. I don't know if you can see him in the frame right now, but he's just, I'm at his level and he's loving it. He's like, I'm licking you and I want attention. Not only has my love for reading been one of the best things this year, but also having Roscoe. You little purring monster. So I consider myself a book dragon. I love collecting and owning physical books. And I did go a little crazy earlier this year. I did max out my credit card. And one of the purchases I made that made it maxed out so quickly were books. We learn now. So having my credit card maxed out, having this cat, and now having a Kindle, I'm not going as wild anymore, but I do want to catch up with all the books that I did purchase. So I wanted to do a June hopefuls. I wanted to share some books that I'm hoping to read this month. I do want to read hopefully 18 books. I've been averaging about between 14 and 18 a month. Last month in May, I read 14 books. So these are just a few that I want. Sorry, he's distracting me so much. He does this thing, Roscoe does this thing where he's like, I hear you, I see you. He's licking my hand. I picked out a few books that I'm hoping to read this month. Will I read them this month? I hope so. But a girl be in her moods. And this is what I picked out based off of the mood I'm feeling for this month. I know June is like the romance, the beach books. I don't know, I want some fantasy. So there's a lot here. So we're going to go through each book and I'm going to share why I want to read it this month. So the first book in my June hopefuls is Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. This is the second book to the Ninth House series. I read Ninth House in April and I vaguely remember I vaguely remember it. I do want to read the second book though, because I do want resolve on certain things that happened. What I remember from Ninth House is there was a lot of like ghost. It was more on that vibe of things, which I thought was interesting because a lot of the fantasy books I've been reading or have seen have been like fae, vampires, werewolves, which is fun and I will eat it up every time, but Ninth House had to do with ghosts. This one is the Barnes & Noble's exclusive edition, so it has the black. I love books that have these like, these special editions that have these cool, I don't know, they're painted, the pages are painted. So I'm hoping to read it, especially since I read Ninth House in April, so while I still have some of what happened fresh in my brain, I would like to read this. The next book I would like to read this month is Babel by R.F. I don't know if I'm going to pronounce her last name right, so I'm just not going to try. This book, I bought it also in April. I think I bought it in March or April, and I've seen a lot of people say good things about this book. They've also shared that it's very emotional, and I just feel like at some point this month I'm gonna want to cry. Why the fuck you lying? I'm gonna want to be in my emotions. What is this about, you may ask? I honestly don't know. So my issue is, or it's not an issue, but if I see anyone recommend any kind of fantasy book and they remotely just say that they like it, I'm like, bet, let me add it to my TBR, let me get the book. So this book takes place in 1828. And from what I'm understanding from the summary, this takes place in London. This is about a Chinese boy raised in Britain. He realizes serving Babel means... This is a lengthy book, but I hope that I can get to it this month. So yeah, that's that. Next is An Ember in the Forest, Shadow and Ash, Volume 1 by Emily Gray. This book, first off, look how thick this boy is. Yeah, that's a thick boy. I really don't recall what this is about. I'm reading the summary now. I think I bought this in February or March. Oh, I think this is a Rapunzel retelling. So Arya is locked away in isolation in a strange forest without memories of who she is or where she came from. Arya fights to make sense of the small world around her. With only her name written on a piece of paper and a wolf for company. Oh, now I remember why I got it. Woof, 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 woof. Okay, I remember. I need to read this month. It's a romantasy because I see the guy's name Cassian. The prestige general of Landora, Cassian Alvar, is haunted by nightmares about a girl in the woods he doesn't know and can never save. These visions chase him from sleep, haunting his waking world until he feels a pull leading deep into the woods outside the safety of the city walls. This has to be the next book I read. Okay, I'm just gonna put this on the side. An Ember in the Forest. Wow. Next book is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. I have heard, I keep saying this about every book. I probably sound like a robot. So first off, I bought this book on 8 books. At this point, as the credit card was starting to max out, instead of buying from Barnes & Nobles and whatnot, I was buying a lot of books on 8 books and it was cheaper. So this is one that I did get on 8 books. I highly recommend 8 books if you want to get used books and you want to get them at a very reasonable price, I would say. I believe I got this one for $5 or $6, which is better. I mean, I know, okay, let's be real. I know I spent like $17 on this book, so I really need to read this book. But anyways, Children of Blood and Bone. I don't know much. The back though, the back says, they killed my mother, they took our magic, they tried to bury us, now we rise. Whoa. You know, I do like a revolution. I do like revenge. And that's what this is giving. So I do hope I get to this month. I'm hoping if I feel a little bit angry about the world, this will make me want to immerse in this society. So that is Children of Blood and Bone. I believe this is a trilogy. So hopefully if I get into this, I will just, the next 3. The next book I want to read this month is From Blood and Ash by Jennifer Armentrout. Fun fact, I love if someone tells me there's like some kind of vampire or werewolves. Vampire and werewolves, I'm a sucker for that kind of vibe. And I recall this being about vampires. I believe it's an enemies to lovers, but don't take my word for it. I'm briefly going through the summary. I heard that this one is very spicy. Very spicy. I mean, even the back. It's a sexy, addictive, and unexpected fantasy, perfect for fans of Sarah J. Maas and Laura Thalassa. Okay. Yeah. I really am enthusiastic about all these books I want to read. They're all they look pretty lengthy, but we might try. Anyways, From Blood and Ash, I hope to get to this one this month, because if I've been feeling fantasy, but if I want a little bit of spice, actually a lot of spice, this one, from what I've heard, is very spicy. So I'm definitely going to want to dabble in that, so I hope I do get to this one this month. The next one is The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo again. So I have Hellbent, and I do want to read The Familiar because this is about witches. This is about witches, and one of my friends got this for me as a birthday gift last month. And look at this. Look at this. I love, like I said, we love special editions. We love when the pages are painted. I love it. I love it. I love it. The cover immediately perked my interest, and I do also love stories about witches. If I read this month, I'm hoping to read it after Hellbent, because then this will be the third Leigh Bardugo book I've read. And I don't know. I don't have much to say except like it's about witches and I think it looks cool, so I want to read it. The next book is For the Wolf by Hannah Witten, and this is a Little Red Riding Hood retelling. And one thing about me, I'm going to like a retelling. And I'm going to like it if I've heard from many people that it's a good retelling. And I've heard this one is very good. So hopefully I get to this one this month. The next book I want to read is Where the Dark Stands Still by A.B. Poranek. This is a young adult. Oh man, I haven't even been giving the genres. I'm so sorry. I just realized I'm finally now giving the genre of like what each book is. I'm bad at this. I'm so bad at this. I'm so sorry. This is a young adult fantasy. I bought this book 2 months ago, and first off, look at the cover. I don't know if it'll focus or whatnot. This is gorgeous. This is a gorgeous cover. And that's why I want to read it. Nothing impactful to say except for gorgeous cover. I want to read it. It's a young adult fantasy. For the rest of the books, I will actually tell you the genre clearly, so you know. My bad. I'm new at this. The next book I want to read is Divine Rivals. Very much rivals to lover, Divine Rivals. And this one is also a young adult fantasy. I will say my favorite trope is enemies to lovers, rivals to lovers. I do not like it when it's bullies to lovers. I feel like you can do rivals and enemies without it being bullies. I will get it. The Cruel Prince series was the exception, but books series like Zodiac Academy, yeah, I'm excited to hopefully get to this. It's also pretty short too, so yeah. Last book is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. This is also another young adult fantasy, and one of the main reasons I want to read it this month is next month the next book comes out, I believe, Reckless? Correct me if I'm wrong. And one of my best friends has read it, has enjoyed it, has been begging me to read it, and I do want to read it before the next book comes out because there's an event for the release party for it, and I want to go, but I want to have already read this to go and then get this next book. So I'm going to go back through the other books that I want to read and actually tell you the genre, like if it's a young adult fantasy, because that would probably be helpful, right? Yeah. So For the Wolf is fantasy, adult fantasy. I'm hoping there's some spice. The Familiar, I believe this one is adult fantasy. No romance. I don't think it's romance. From Blood and Ash is adult fantasy, although I got this from the romance section in Barnes & Noble. But, I mean, you won't get spice with this, so it's gonna be, you know. Children of Blood and Bone, this one is young adult fantasy. Babel is adult fantasy. And Emperor in the Forest is also adult fantasy. And Hellbent is also adult fantasy. I apologize for the scrambled way my brain decided to present this to you all, the books I want to read this month. This is a few that I currently own that I would like to read. I haven't looked through Kindle Unlimited for any that I specifically want to. So far this month I've read Heartless Hunter, Crimson Moth, which I'll talk more about it in the June wrap up. And I'm currently reading, what is it, Wolf Gone Wild by Julie Cross. and I'm 72% of the way through that one, and it's so good. So we'll see, and I read both of those on the Kindle, so we'll see any that I would like to read on the Kindle. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. If you have read any of these books, if you loved them, if you hated them, if you're in the middle, either way, I want to hear your thoughts in the comments, so make sure that you comment down below so we can chat. I hope you have an amazing day, and I hope you come back for more and you enjoyed it here. Bye!